Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Sanch, welcome back to the Bodybuilding News Network. We have the results from the prejudging for the 2024 Tampa Pro in the men's open bodybuilding division. So if you want to see that, make sure you stay tuned. But let's go ahead and jump right into now this is the projected top four coming out of prejudging. We have Mo Foda on the left in the blue trunks. I believe that's number 264. And we have Jordan Hutchinson next to him in the, I'd say, teal posing trunks, number 266, I do believe. Next to him, John De La Rosa in the purple trunks. He's one of the favorites. I think that's who I picked to win this show. 263 maybe. It's the numbers are getting a little questionable at this point. And last but certainly not least, all the way on the right, we have Vladislav Suhorochko, who I did not have as a winner for this show, but you're going to see by the end of this video, there's a good chance he might be able to pull off an upset with this show. Now let's go ahead and jump into the top four here. I am very excited for the front double bicep. Every show should start with a good front double, or maybe even a front lat if you're a little spicy. But when we look at the projected top two, right? You got the two guys in the middle. You got John De La Rosa and Jordan Hutchinson. You've got a nice comparison, both of them kind of holding a vacuum of sorts. John De La Rosa, a more conventional ribs extended outwards vacuum hold, and Jordan Hutchinson more of a I'd say like a Nick Walker-esque. Same with Mo Foda doing the same thing, and Mo's looking phenomenal. Midsection's nice and tight. Jordan's is nice and tight. Vlad, I think, really did stand out here in this shot for the midsection. He's typically not a guy known for having crazy tight abdominals, especially on the oblique side. Usually he spills over a little bit, but you can see there's no spillage on the posing trunks at all here. I think he looks absolutely great. The legs, I would say, between him and Jordan Hutchinson really stand out in this lineup. Mo Foda as well. The legs look quite dense from the front. I'd say John De La Rosa is the one that kind of sticks out as not fitting in with the pack here, for having really nice detailed legs, at least from the front, in this very specific time in the universe, right? This photo is not moving, it's not live, so you don't get to see the different angles. You're not seeing what the judges are seeing, and that's, I think, an important thing when we look at critiquing and judging photos from our bedrooms. Now, when we look at Vlad, the chest, the arms, can we have this guy win? Like, when we look at his physique, what makes him stand out as winning? Everyone's trying to win right now, but I want to kind of preface this video by thinking, I think Vlad could steal this show. So let's go ahead and look at that. His arms, his chest look good, but he could use more shine. Look at John, look at Jordan, and even Mo Foda. They have a lot more shine compared to Vlad. I think Vlad's legs have a lot of good shine to them, but they could use some more shine. Overall, I probably would judge this maybe Vlad and Jordan for the front, or maybe even Mo Foda. John De La Rosa, for some reason, looks kind of flat, at least in the upper body, and the legs look not as comparable to the other guys. So I don't know if I'd have him winning this front double in this top four prediction in prejudging. Moving along into the front lat spread, another great shot for Vlad. The legs look just as tight, just as hard as the other shots. Mo Foda looks, I don't know, does he look bored? He looks a little interesting in this shot. Muscularity wise, the arms and the shoulders look great. He definitely fills out that frame, where as some of these other guys, even Jordan Hutchinson, he's got a big gap in the lat to forearm ratio. It makes it look like it's needing room for improvement. But if you look at the rest of that physique, he's pretty capped out. He's very full. He's doing a great job maximizing his potential early in his career. The legs look as well very good. Moving into John De La Rosa, not really standing out here in this lineup. The tan looks a little bit muddy. The midsection, you can see on the bottom towards the posing trunks, a tad bit distended, and that could just be caught them, the photograph caught him in a breath. It could be something like that. So kind of hard to judge that. Definitely not the best shot for him. So 2 shots in a row, not looking great for John De La Rosa, but they do have him in this top 2. So It's interesting to see, or it would be interesting to see what the judges are seeing, maybe a different camera angle. And of course, if I wasn't training chest, I would have seen the live stream. So that is my bad. Of course, I'll be going and doing a little birthday party this evening, so I will not be here for the finals. And for Vlad, again, looking really good, looking huge. I'd say in some of the other shots we're going to see in just a second, I think he really does look more dominant. But from the front shots, I think it's more of the lat ratio to the midsection really does hurt him in a lot of these shots. And you can see that comparing him to Jordan Hutchinson or comparing him to Mo Foda here. Again, I don't think this is a good shot for John right now. Moving into the side, this is where Vlad, I think, starts to stand out. The crazy looking shoulders he has, the veiny biceps, the nice full chest, putting the hands clasped kind of right in the area where he gets critiqued the most in the midsection, really does help him stand apart from the competition. The glutes are, I would say, debatably the best on stage. The hamstring drop as well. He really does separate himself. John does start to liven up here. He looks a little bit more full, a little bit more crisp compared to the other two comparisons we just had. But of course, so does everyone else. I'd say even Mo Foda, probably the least crazy in terms of the chest. For some reason, it just looks a little smooth. Maybe it's just the bicep in the forearm isn't as lean and isn't as hard as the other guys. It's something's jumping out at me. But the hamstring, the glute looks phenomenal. Calves, all around, good calves. Vlad has probably the highest insertion of calves on the lineup. But I don't think the judges are looking for that too close. So, side chest looks pretty good. Moving into the back double, more shots where I would say that Vlad's looking really good here. Very dense, very thick. I was watching Xavier Willis's Desktop Bodybuilding's coverage of this, and he was talking about him really excessively stepping over the line. But if you look at where the foot's planted, it doesn't look too bad. It doesn't look too far over the line. So I really just think he's just that much bigger than these guys. Whereas John Del Rosa starts to look a little tighter. I think he's actually getting tighter as we go into the show. But the back looks good, nice and full. The lower back, not a lot of skin folding, so it looks like he came in pretty good conditioning despite what I was saying with the front double and the front lat. Jordan Hutchinson as well, looking good, and Mo Foda. I'd say both of those guys are pretty comparable. Mo's a little bit softer in the lower body, and he has kind of a twist to that back double, which could hurt him when we look at the judging. You kind of want to move your body completely towards the judges, not just rotate your torso. So that could hurt him. And I think we have a couple more shots. The front or the rear lat spread, another good shot for Vlad. Very wide. It's got a lot of detail in those rhomboids in the lats, going all the way down to the posing trunks. Good thick glutes and some nice dense hamstrings. Not a crazy amount of detail outside of Jordan. I think Jordan Hutchinson, he's got that nice traditional hard glutes with the hips rotated outwards. Some of these guys have their butts tucked in. Mo Foda specifically, you can see he's kind of like tucked his butt in, and he's doing that rotation of the torso, not rotation of the whole body. And you can see that in that lower skin folding in that lower back. So he's going to want to make those adjustments coming into finals to better present himself to the judges. Jordan Hutchinson, maybe rotate the back a little bit more. He's looking a little flat, whereas you can see the other two guys a little bit more 3D-esque. The lighting is hitting them just right. So another good shot for Vlad. And John Del Rosa, I think, is starting to stand out in some of these shots. So he's doing what he needs to do to be noticed in this lineup, at least from a YouTuber like myself. And the side tricep, as we slowly creep towards the end of the video, make sure you guys leave a like. It does help me, and it does help this channel continue to grow as we are finally getting back into coverage after a good 4-month hiatus. I am still deployed, but we are making do with what we have with this loud air conditioning in the back. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the coverage that I can do for you. Now the side tricep, this is definitely not the best angle for Vlad. It's going to be better if he's he's face on, and also if he's pointing in the direction of the center. So if he would have rotated his body to go with the judging, or at least facing his body towards center stage. But hey, if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. But he does look good. At least the tricep, you can see it very well. The midsection looks nice and tight. The glutes as well. A hamstring drop is pretty shaded in, but it still looks good. John De La Rosa, not a good shot for him. He's got that shoulder kind of rotated in, and he's leaning into it a little, almost too much. The glute looks a little soft, but the hamstring drop is nice and tight. Jordan Hutchinson, it's just not a good shot for any of these guys, except maybe Mo Foda. Looks pretty thick and dense up here. His tricep completely showing. Everybody else seems like they're just not really in the shot perfectly. Very interesting shot. And the ab and thigh. We'll have the most muscular in just a second, and then I'll get you guys' hopefully we can get your thoughts in the comment sections below. Looking at this abs and thigh, Vlad doing the one hands on hip, which I think is a really good look for him, especially if he's trying to hide maybe any weaknesses on that left side or right in the obliques and the abs, if there's any imbalances. Mo Foda as well doing a variation of that, looking way more better, looking better, I'd say more William Bonesque-esque, no pun intended. And then the two guys in the center matching the shot to give the judges a really good look. John De La Rosa, I will say that his abs do look very crisp, very tight. The tan is starting to look really nice as he's starting to warm up. The body's starting to look a little bit more full and crisp. So he definitely was starting to get into his peak towards the end of this top four call out, which for the most part is usually at the end of the show. So he was peaking at the very end. Debatably, some would say the perfect time to peak. And the most muscular, Vlad and Mo Foda really steal this one. The delts, the striations in the chest, the bicep veins, you can't compare that. I think John looks good, but undersized for some reason next to these guys. I know he's a smaller guy, but he's very complete. But Vlad in those just juicy, Death Star looking delts, the great quads. I think there's a very good argument for Vlad winning this show. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts down below, in your thoughts on if you think Vlad is anywhere near winning this show, or if my 4-month hiatus has made me lose my eye for bodybuilding. But that's it for this one. Thank you for watching our prejudging results for the men's open bodybuilding at this year's 2024 Tampa Pro. I'm your host here on the Bodybuilding News Network, Josh Sanch. As always, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.